You're closer to the top 1% than you think, because almost everyone else is sabotaging themselves. It only takes a few key habits to separate you from the crowd. We'll break each one down after we show the traps that keep everyone else stuck. Being a top performer isn't actually that complicated. I'm not just talking about in your career or making money. I'm talking about being a high achiever in all areas of life. Relationships, fulfillment, meaning, health, all of it. The playbook is surprisingly simple, though not necessarily easy. The first major reason it's so simple to get ahead today is that most people's attention is completely fragmented by digital distractions. Studies show 45% of teenagers report being online almost constantly, and adults check their phone on average 96 times a day. That's roughly once every 10 minutes. Each time you're interrupted, whether that's from a notification or just a quick peek at social media, it takes about 23 minutes to refocus on the original task. Even if you're only interrupted, say, 5 times during a typical workday, that's still about 2 hours of productive time lost. Even more concerning is what all this has done to our attention spans. Studies show that the average attention span on a screen is now only 47 seconds before switching tasks. We're literally training ourselves to be distracted. Honestly, if you're still watching this, congratulations. You might be farther ahead than you think. My life changed for the better when I deleted social media from my phone, and it improved even more when I started keeping my phone away from me in another part of the house. Try this right now. Set a timer for 25 minutes, put your phone in another room, grab a notebook, and just write about your top 3 priorities. Something like this is so valuable and yet so difficult for so many people without getting distracted. The second major reason it's surprisingly simple to get ahead is that basic discipline is shockingly rare. While many of our peers are disorganized, distracted, and unmotivated, simply practicing good fundamentals can set us far apart. Let's start with physical fitness. In the US, health authorities recommend 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity every week, along with 2 strength training sessions. In my opinion, this is already not enough, but only 23% of adults meet these already low guidelines. That means about 3/4 of American adults aren't getting sufficient exercise, even at a minimum, to support their cognitive, emotional, and physical health. Or consider the fundamental skills of time management and productivity. Researchers estimate 80 to 95% of college students procrastinate, and 50% report procrastinating regularly. A Career Builder survey found that 25% of employees are late once a month, and 16% report being late every single week. If we simply do tasks on time, starting early, getting things in before the deadline, and show up to work when we're supposed to, we already distinguish ourselves from our peers. Build discipline through tiny, consistent habits and setting up your environment for success. Be one of the 2% of people who take the stairs when there's an escalator available. Even just going to bed at a reasonable time and sleeping 7 to 8 hours will probably solve more of your problems than you might realize. The third major reason it's simpler than ever to get ahead is our unprecedented access to knowledge and skill-building resources. These days, any motivated person with internet access can learn basically anything at little to no cost. Ivy League education is literally available for free online. When knowledge is free and abundant, the real differentiator becomes curiosity and effort. But despite abundant access to free books, a significant share of adults don't read any long-form content. A Pew Research survey found that roughly 1/4 of American adults reported not having read a single book in the last year. If you read just an hour a day, half the time that folks spend on social media on average, you'd get through 20 or 30 books in a year. Imagine what you could learn. Perhaps one of the most underrated factors in high achievement is the people you surround yourself with. Studies show having motivated, persistent friends boosts your quality of life and also, of course, your outcomes. So don't try to go at it alone. Schedule time to check in with your friends, find new communities, and be persistent when you need to about finding the kind of people that are going to support you to become the kind of person you want to be. Because it's hard right now to find people who will help you succeed. We've had a cultural shift towards accepting and sometimes even celebrating mediocrity. Our society has increasingly embraced an ethos that unintentionally enables underperformance. Too often, listening to your body becomes permission to quit at the first sign of difficulty, and protecting your mental health is an excuse to not engage with anything that's difficult. True self-care actually supports high performance, but many people use self-care language to justify permanent comfort seeking. The result is a widening gap between those who understand the benefits of being challenged and those who always choose the path of least resistance. Equally concerning is the rise of an external locus of control culture. This is the belief that our outcomes are primarily determined by forces outside of our control. While external factors obviously exist, our society increasingly attributes all struggles to external factors rather than personal agency. The impact of these cultural shifts is really significant. By lowering collective standards and expectations, we've created an environment where basic discipline stands out and is sometimes even considered toxic. In a culture where external blame is the norm, someone taking ownership of their results seems extraordinary. So take ownership of your circumstances. Replace "I have to" with "I choose to" in your language. When facing setbacks, ask yourself, what part of this can I control, rather than looking for external factors. One of the most counterintuitive truths about success is that the hard path is often empty. Not because it's truly too challenging, but because so many people self-select out early. Many people will quit at the first sign of challenge. Most new gym goers abandon their routines after just a couple of weeks. Most podcasts end after episode 7. The average completion rate for an online course is about 10%. What this means is that simply staying in the game longer automatically puts you ahead. The longer you persist at something challenging, the fewer people remain as competition. Even in hyper-competitive fields, the number of people who are willing to consistently put in the work is smaller than it might seem. This reveals an important truth. Endurance is rarer than talent. Outlasting others wins by default. So ask yourself, what would happen if you simply didn't quit the things you started? What if you were the one who kept going when motivation waned, when obstacles appeared, and when it just wasn't that fun? Practice sitting with discomfort rather than seeking immediate relief. For me, this looks like a few minutes of silent meditation in the morning without distractions. Trust me, the rewards will be so worth it. I want to acknowledge that everything I've said today is not equally easy for everyone. Mental health challenges are real. Mental health support and treatment are often prerequisites to allow someone to take advantage of the opportunities we've discussed today. We should also acknowledge inequality and systemic barriers. Some people face a steeper climb despite having similar personal discipline. But even acknowledging these realities, skill and discipline can overcome many barriers. They may not achieve top 1% status, but they can absolutely improve someone's position relative to where they started. We can honor real constraints and still hunt for every inch of agency. No matter where you start, your best bet is still to control what you can: your learning, your discipline, and your adaptability. This isn't about sacrificing joy or becoming some productivity machine. It's about making strategic choices that pay off with better health and results. By enhancing your life with good habits, you'll likely end up with more free time, less stress, and more happiness. Not the other way around. The key takeaway here is both inspiring and sobering. It has never been simpler to set yourself apart, because so few people take the uncomplicated steps to do so. So while others make excuses, get distracted, or quit early, you can choose another path. You can embrace the basics, persist when others give up, and accumulate the compound interest of consistent effort. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you be part of the majority who knows what they should do but don't do anything about it? Or will you be part of the minority who turn knowledge into consistent action? The choice, as always, is yours.